Welcome, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit of extra time today. But we've been thinking about, we have lots of things going on in the life of the congregation that we share with you through newsletter updates and all kinds of stuff like that. And we could have a series of 3 or 4 minute announcements at the end of service for a long time. But we said instead, let's try to do about 15 minutes together and just update you on what's going on in the life of the congregation right now. So thank you for gathering with us this morning to hear some of what God is up to in and through our congregation. This mid-year congregational life update is an opportunity for lots of our leaders to share highlights of the year so far, some updates on some ongoing projects, and ways for you to get involved. Our work together is rooted in God's word, and lately some of us have begun reflecting on this passage from Hebrews 10 that I want to share with you as we begin our time. From Hebrews 10, verses 23 to 25. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful. And let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. And with that, I'm going to invite our president, John McCarroll, to get us started.
Thank you, Pastor. Well, this is an exciting time for our church. You may have noticed that we've had many new individuals and families join just in this past 5 months of this new year. So we want to welcome them, and part of what we want to do is be a welcoming place. And I wanted to remind you that some of you had made a contribution for the sign out front. On June the 14th, so we're holding them to this, on June the 14th, they will begin the construction of the new limestone sign out front. And it's going to be really nice, and we really appreciate the folks who've helped support that. Also, the 2 signs on each side of that monument sign are going to be moved out a little bit in order to comply with the city's requirements. And we're going to change their orientation so that they'll be a little bit more welcoming. So just wanted to tell you that. And we're thankful also for the donors who helped us redo the narthex and make it a more welcoming place. And we do want to ask you to help welcome new folks and perhaps volunteer to be a mentor for new members who join. And so that's our challenge for this year. So.
Thank you. I had a stroke 3 weeks ago. I'm doing great. Don't worry about me. I'm dangerous with this walker though. So thank you all for being here, and I love that John mentioned the new members. Would y'all all raise your hand one time for me? Just raise your hand. I'm not going to make you be a mentor I want to make sure that y'all can all say yes, because I bring good news. Christ Lutheran Church is making a difference in our community, in our state, and in the world. Months ago, many of us weren't sure what ministry teams were or how they were going to work. I certainly didn't. But they are working. They're doing great things. I have in my notes that beside me, they're all standing here, but...
They're sitting down. They're going to come stand by you right now.
Okay, here we go. Come on, John. If everybody's not there, it's okay. There's slide up. These are our ministry team ministers, and they have agreed to... lead different groups. Okay, Matthew, you can be like the others. Don't be so different. Come on. Take a step up. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. I think Matthew's first.
Oh, yeah. Here. Well, yeah. So here, but also Matthew's first, and I told him I'll be around a little bit if you want to ask me questions instead of him, because we're trading a little bit, right? He's getting ready to teach a class, so make sure you make it to teach his class. Do we have? But I'll let Matthew share. But I need this. There you go.
All right, so what do you say about this? Wow. Excellent. All right. So I won't just read this to you. Let me just say that we have had a couple of great that's workshop on worship meetings. It's a great opportunity to come see me do silly stuff like give quizzes. That was fun, right? That was fun, right? Yes. But it's also an opportunity for us to talk about what goes into creating worship and to have dialogue about the sorts of things that create meaningful experiences for you. So think about getting involved. We're having a great time with the workshop on worship, by which I mean I'm having a great time. So you're welcome to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll send him off and go join him soon in the Red Room to hear about the kingdom parables.
Okay, so I'm Jennifer Pratt, and I serve as the lead minister for the discipleship team. And the discipleship team, just as a reminder, designs, creates opportunities for us to grow in faith together and to take a next step as a follower of Jesus, from things like Bible study to godly play, in small groups and large, and in church and at home. So I just wanted to mention a few highlights from the year. So first, we do have a separate little library team. The library team meets monthly and is currently working on updating all of the information on the church website so that everyone actually can see what is in the library. The library, if you haven't visited, is such an amazing resource, and we're trying to make sure that all of our members know what's available. So if you're interested in that team, let us know. We can hook you up with when those meetings are. In addition to the library team, we have a group that's meeting right now. We've had one meeting so far where the primary focus is youth and families. So we're trying to make sure that we're addressing the needs of youth and our families by this group. We also have had youth facilitators for the high schoolers. That's worked well this past year. We had a team, but one of those has graduated. Elena graduated from Southwestern. But as was mentioned in the camp blessing earlier, Micah is still at Southwestern, will be returning in the fall to, again, help lead our high school youth group. We also have a parent, Taylor Sell, who's looking into starting a mom's parents group here, which we're very excited about. And then the last thing I'd just like to say is we are interested in offering some additional adult learning opportunities. We have the staff that we have. So what we need is some volunteers to step up. If you're willing to lead a small group, say a 5 to 8 week series, it could be on all sorts of different topics, please let me know. We could do them on Sundays, during the regular year in addition to Pastor's Sunday school class, or we could do these like on a Wednesday night or a Sunday evening. We've done different things like that before, and we're looking for volunteers to come help us with ideas as well as to lead those kinds of groups. So if you're interested, please let me know or talk to Carlene, our pastor, and we'll try to get some things set up starting in September. So who's next?
Good morning. Jean Davis and I lead the outreach team, and really I think all of our wonderful liaisons and coordinators are leading us. We are very blessed, and the highlight is that we are so blessed in our congregation to have liaisons, coordinators, volunteers who spread the love of Christ and are involved in service, not just in the community, the neighborhood, but abroad as well. And the number of ministries that we have going on right here is just, they're numerous, it's wonderful. We have tried to highlight one of those ministries, give you a little more information in our monthly newsletter. In addition to that, Jean and I have been working on and just completed. It is something that we can post on our website, that it is just a very brief 1 or 2 statements about a particular ministry that we are involved in. And there is a link to that particular organization. So you can click that link, you can read more about it. And then also, Pastor is helping us create an email address through the church that will come directly to Jean and I. So if you have questions about some of those ministries, or if you would like to get involved, volunteer, support, continue to pray for these ministries, that's what that is all about on our website. Just some call to action. Our next meeting will be July the 10th at 5:30 up in the Foxhole. And for those of you who would like to become more involved in some of these ministries or just hear more about them, we invite you. We also have some events coming up that are here at the church that we put on for the neighborhood. And so our call to action is we're asking people to volunteer. We have our school supply drives coming up for Lutheran World Relief. Doris Hoover is kind of spearheading that. In addition to that, we have the local neighborhood school supply drive that is coming up, and you'll see more about those in July. And then it's not too soon to be thinking about our fall events, Trunk or Treat. God's Work Our Hands is in September, followed by Trunk or Treat in October. And so we're asking for volunteers, or if you would like to coordinate. These are things that have been going on here for a while, and so as Pastor reminded us, a lot of things for those events are already in place, and so it's not that cumbersome, but it takes a team of us to make sure that we can get those events up and running. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm David Oberender. Dave Brown and myself are the co-team leaders for the support team, which we basically oversee the facilities, make sure everything's in good repair, and everything is functioning just fine. We generally have met about once a month. We have a good, well-rounded group of folks that come there at the meetings and stuff that oversee technology, the church grounds, different aspects of the church here. I guess our highlight of the year has been on March the 30th, we had a work day here, and we had about 35, and I'm going back to Pastor's sermon, we had about 35 family members show up to help out and clean flower beds, wipe pews, wash windows, trim limbs, and so it was a good experience. In 2 hours' time, we knocked out everything that needed to get done. Highlight or not the highlight, but as far as upcoming year, things we're working on, a couple of things. Want to try to increase I call it security, but basically the accessing the church, put out a couple of more keypad entries so that we don't have to give out keys. Looking into maybe a camera or two, as well as sensors on the doors so that we know when something's been open and closed. Also, for you folks that sit on I'm going to call it the Jesus side of the sanctuary, we're looking at trying to put a monitor up for y'all as well over here so that you don't have to stare back over on the east side over here. So we continue to support us. We appreciate the help along the way. It does take a team. It takes a family to keep everything going. Thank you.
I'm John Ziegler. I'm not Ronnie this morning. He ducked out and assigned me to do this. I help. So that's one thing. We do want to have deeper benches with what we do. The old category of 20% of the people do 80% of the work. We're striving to move that dial a bit so that more of us are involved in the fun. I'm from the care team. Your care team met this last Wednesday, and we reviewed what we were doing to continue to step up the program of visitation with members, and especially shut-ins, and provide communion when requested. The prayer shawl ministry continues under the direction of Deb Parr. Deb, would you stand up back there so people can see you? Okay, great. Thank you. We hope to begin the program of Grief Share, which is a nationally recognized program, in the fall. And we will need members who will like to work in that program as facilitators. Contact me, please, so that we may let you know of the training as it becomes available. We need to hear from the congregation of other needs. If you have a thought, even if it is a fleeting thought, that, hey, wouldn't it be neat if, let somebody know so that we can be supportive of the congregation. The care team is here to try to support the health and the well-being of the membership so that when we go out those doors into the world to get beat up again, we'll be well prepared, and that when we come back and gather together, we'll have the support that we need here to help us in our faith and to help us spiritually so that we are strengthened in all that we need to do. Let's just keep on keeping on.
I get a microphone, I'm like crazy. You know, we all have God-given gifts, and I know there's some of you that are shaking your head going, Lenora, I don't know that you have any, but we all have been given gifts, and God gave us those gifts for a real reason. He wanted us in his toolbox. So it's time that you kind of dig deep, look inside yourself, and say, you know, besides the wonderful sermon, besides the great music, maybe God is calling me to do something. And here's the wonderful payoff with joining any of these groups, is that you have a smaller group that you've become close to. You ask quilters, they know each other. The people crocheting shawls, they know each other. When we do soup suppers during Lent, we get to know each other. And it's a really fabulous fellowship of a different kind. It's hard to visit in the pews. Maybe we're not supposed to. I probably will get called. Maybe, but I mean, we love each other, and we are a family, and that's how we should look at it. So you're here for a reason. I hope you'll explore these teams. You're invited to attend any of them. You can dip your toes in the water and see if it feels right. Go and see if you feel connected. See if God's calling you, and don't ignore it, because I promise you're here for a reason. And thank you for the minister leaders. They were called to do it, and they went ahead and did it without us knowing exactly what it was going to all be about. A quick verse that is so powerful to me from 1 Corinthians. But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. How strange a body would be if it only had one part. Yes, there's many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. The head can't say to the feet, I don't need you. We need you. Christ Lutheran Church in this spot right here in Georgetown needs each one of you. So think about it, please. We need you to think about your commitment to our Lord. I thank you on behalf of the council for your commitment to the Lord and to our church family. So together, let's go shine the light.
Hey guys, we're just getting started. No, but I have the unfortunate privilege of having a page flip, so I'm going to stand up here if that's okay. So, if you don't know me, my name is Brian Derringer. I'm serving my second year as council treasurer, and so we're going to give a quick update on the financial health of the congregation. And I'm happy to say we're off to a great start this year. If you'll remember back in October when we approved the budget, we talked about having a challenge goal of a budget. It was about a 20% growth budget. And so and by the way, I don't have any graphs or anything like that, but I'm going to throw out just a couple of numbers not a lot, but a couple numbers. That 20% growth, that's a big change in 1 year, right? That really is a challenge. And I'm happy to say that through April, and April's 4 months in, that's about a third of the way into the year, we're at 14% above giving for last year, and that's a big increase. It's not the 20%, so we should be proud of the ministry that we're supporting and the things that we're doing through our giving, and also we're still challenging ourselves to kind of live up to what we're hoping to do with our budget. So let's continue to support these ministry efforts. Let's continue to support these teams. And also, especially through the summer months, please remember that our expenses here don't go away during the summer. And so even if you're traveling, using Tithely or some other method is a great way to kind of make it easy to continue to support what we're doing here week after week. So that's kind of where we're at. A couple of things that are coming up. Scheduling an audit team planning session, a couple of sessions for July. The aim is to complete our audit of 2022 and also 2023 financial activities sometime before our October, congregational meeting. So if you have an interest in helping, here's a call to action. Especially if you have any experience with like quality control or process control, if you have any experience with compliance, or better yet, actual financial audits, that would be appreciated. We'd love to have your help in joining this effort. It's not the same as auditing a public company. We're not doing that. But we do want to examine that we're following our procedures, that we're asking questions, documenting things. I think I tallied almost a dozen different accounts, like different bank accounts, associated with our tax ID, right? So the church supports a lot of different groups and efforts and things like that, and we really ought to be just checking it all out, just as a diligence. So we'd like a team of 3 to 5 people. Let me know if you're interested. I'm happy to share the guidelines that we've developed so far. August and September is also budget planning time. We'll approve that budget at our congregational meeting in October, which means we got to do some work ahead of that. This year, importantly, we have the ministry teams up and running, so we need to take into account their needs, their goals, and kind of work that in. I'm excited to see the new and ongoing efforts that we'll get to support through our budget. So one thing I like to emphasize to people is that our financial reports, our financial records, our financial plans, they should tell a story. And I think the story of Christ Lutheran is an inspiring one. And so I'll close with this. Speaking of inspiring, I know that many of us have been moved by the recent outpouring of support for Addie, the single mother with the seriously ill child in the hospital, and we've done a lot to help them. I think this support it's of course wonderful to see and heartwarming. It's a ray of hope, I'm sure, for her and her children during a difficult time. If we remember, these crises like this can come unexpectedly to any of us. And as a community of faith, we want to be ready to help, right? So I'm super excited to announce that finally, after months of planning, we now have a dedicated fund at Christ Lutheran. It's called the Christ Lutheran Good Neighbor Discretionary Fund. And this fund is intended to be a ready resource to assist people, even members, who are in acute need, facing a crisis that's known to Pastor Drew. This initiative was inspired by a very generous family roughly 6 months ago, and it was enabled by the policy work that our stewardship committee drafted and then council adopted, and already supported by other generous donors in recent weeks. We actually opened and funded the account this last Thursday. So thank you again for your support of our shared ministry. Please let me know if you'd like any additional information about our financial activities. And I think John is up next.
Still not. Oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for that. I wanted to very quickly, we talk about the future, what's coming up. So one of the things that your church council has done, we've had 2 evenings of a retreat, and it was to help us plan both short-term and longer term. And what we have come up with is 4 particular areas of ministry that we feel like that we need to be emphasizing and moving forward on. This doesn't change any of the other things that we're already doing, but these 4 areas of ministry are something we're going to emphasize over the next 6 to 12 months. And we set measurable goals for these ministries, and we're going to be sharing those goals with you and how to meet them. But those 4 stakeholder groups that we feel like we really need to emphasize and reach out to are children, youth, and families here at the church and elsewhere, the neighbors who are nearest to the church. We always talk about the neighbors. Who are our neighbors? Who are our neighbors? We decided that right now, in a short term, let's just work on the neighbors in the immediate area. So we've got some projects for that too. The other one is the ministry teams that we've heard so much about. And that is that we as a church council want to continue to work more closely with them. We have liaisons for each one of these ministry teams that are church council members who report back and help them with questions. So we want to work more closely with that. The other one is the Georgetown Ministerial Alliance. There are several projects that are coming up. The God's Work Our Hands Sunday is the day after the Community Work Day, which is on September 11th, or commemorating the September 11th working project. We're going to be sharing more about those goals in the next few weeks. One of the other things is that we get to know each other. We want to get to know each other better, and one of the ways we're going to do that is it's been a while since we've had a pictorial directory. So we're going to have a pictorial directory. We're working on that. And one of the great things about that is now with the internet, and with most of us being relatively adept at using the internet, you can go on that site that we will build along with the print version. There will be a site online that you can change if you need to change your email address, your photograph, your whatever you need to. You can make the change there. But we just think it would be great if we could, especially with the new folks that we've had join in the last few months, that if we could get to know each other a little bit better. So that's one of those things that's going to be happening pretty quickly. So I just want to, again, thank so much our pastor, our church council, you as a congregation, all the ministry teams that are helping out, and we just appreciate it. This is exciting. These are exciting times for this church. It's really, there's just a lot of smiles on people's faces, and I think that's wonderful. So we do want to appreciate you and let you know how much we appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Pastor.
Thank you all. And I can't preach a children's sermon on confession and then not let you know I said 15 minutes and I lied. But it's a message to me of I gotta let these people share more good news with you more often, right? We have an endless amount of exciting things going on. I didn't even get to touch on things going on with our staffing, right? We have a great staff. We're looking to add to that staff with a choir director and maybe more in the future. So we're grateful for all of these leaders, grateful for your time today. Please forgive me for underselling how much good news we had today. Okay. Let me send us with a brief prayer. Holy One, teach us what it is to provoke one another to love. Help us recognize and develop the skills and gifts you've given us by your Spirit so that we may work together for the common good. As we gather together in your name, inspire us with your love. Equip us to encourage one another as we become a people rooted in grace where every member is a minister and every neighbor is beloved. Amen. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.